Inspired by the colors of nature, emerald greens, ruby reds, sunny oranges, and tropical yellows, transmitting passion and creating light, Margarita Deleuze's work comes alive in all her pieces. Margarita Deleuze was born in Caracas, Venezuela, of mainly German origins, but has been living and painting for the past 25 years in South Florida.
I consider myself actually European, but I am very Venezuelan because I grew up in the old, what is considered now the real beautiful old Caracas. And that photograph over there is very typical of the wonderful youth I had in Venezuela. It was the east part of the city where my family always lived. And that completely does not exist anymore. So I feel really that I was very privileged.
Deleuze moved to Florida in 1984. Having stopped painting for some time, she began to paint aggressively, and her inspiration for everything tropical moved her to depict the beauty of fruits and birds, which eventually led to new exhibits and even TV interviews in various channels.
I would call my artwork realistic, modern realistic, but it's a very old technique of glazing to get that transparency. So I really work on a painting. I have to paint a painting 3 times at least. First I draw it, then I do the bases the first day, and then I repaint it and I work glazing over and over, and that gives it a very transparent richness and a richness to the colors. That's a technique that goes back to Rembrandt's times, because I really feel that art cannot break with a tradition.
Margarita Deleuze's paintings have been exhibited in solo and group exhibitions in galleries throughout the United States and abroad.
I had a really blessed, wonderful childhood, in spite of that my father had lost all his businesses during the war and he was starting again to grow. But we always had a very good family structure, lots of friends, and at that time Venezuela was really a paradise, I can say. I had lots of access to sports, to art, to warmth, to love, to nature, and I really consider myself a very privileged person in that sense.
Margarita's art originated through the coincidence that she got a horse from her grandfather and began to ride. But in order to pay for his upkeep, she began to sketch hers and everybody else's horse at the barn. This is the main reason why she devoted most of her art to horses.
But my father, ironically, always told me that if you become an artist, you're going to starve. So he suggested that I could do it as a hobby to start out. Although I had the inclination, I liked it, they encouraged my love for art and my art as a hobby, but not as a career.
However, disregarding her parents' advice and following her inspiration, Margarita began passionately painting subjects of nature, which gave way to her numerous exhibits and awards received in Venezuela.
I was reading an art magazine and I struck my attention an article about Margarita. Her paintings fascinate me, and I immediately tried to locate her since she also was Venezuelan. I wanted to purchase a painting from her because I like to have art that I enjoy watching every day of my life. Not only for the monetary investment or value, but for the pure pleasure of looking at it. I like figurative art, the realism. I like understanding what I see and the tropical colors.
I know her since a very long time ago, and she painted one of my horses in my barn about 30 years ago, and she paints beautiful animals, horses, and now she's starting to paint fruits, and I find her paint very refreshing, very interesting, very beautiful.
Margarita feels strongly against what is going on politically in her mother country, Venezuela, and through a series of paintings of parrots, she has expressed her criticism and made fun of politicians and people in power.
I'm constantly evolving. I think I have reached a stage of maturity of where my art gives me a lot of peace, but I still have a lot to learn. And it evolves. It's not that you plan it, it's just one thing leads to another and it evolves.
Margarita Deleuze can be considered a truly international artist. Her name and inspiration come from Europe, her art formation from Latin America evolving in the United States. Through her own words, we perceive this magnificent artist.
My challenge comes in using light to define form and space, and in capturing the essence of a subject through the use of composition, color technique, and design. To bring this new awareness to the viewer is my triumph and reward.